Welcome to a world of hard choices and haunting beauty. Today, we are diving into one of the most provocative novels of the 20th century, The Moon and Sixpence by Somerset Maugham. Have you ever looked at your life, your stable job, your comfortable sofa, and felt like a prisoner? Most people spend their entire lives looking at the muddy ground, searching for sixpence. They want safety. They want a steady salary. They want people to like them. But there are a rare few, who look up. They see the moon. And once the moon catches your eye, the coins on the ground, they simply disappear. Our story begins in London with a man who was the definition of boring. Charles Strickland. He was a stockbroker. He was 40 years old. He had a nice wife named Amy and 2 healthy children. For 17 years, he lived a life that was perfectly average. At dinner parties, Amy would talk about art and literature, while Charles sat in the corner, silent, like a piece of furniture. Everyone thought he was dull. They thought he had nothing inside his soul except numbers and stock prices. They were wrong. Inside Charles Strickland, a volcano was forming. And one day, without a word of warning, that volcano exploded. The scandal was the talk of London. Charles Strickland had vanished. He left a note for Amy, but it wasn't a love letter. It was a cold statement. I am not coming back. Amy was devastated. Her friends were shocked. Everyone assumed there must be a woman, a secret lover, a French dancer perhaps. A friend of the family, our narrator, went to Paris to find him. He expected to find Strickland in a luxury hotel, hiding with a beautiful girl. Instead, he found Charles in a tiny, filthy attic, a room that smelled of dust and cheap tobacco. There was no woman. There was only a man with an old coat and a mountain of canvases. The narrator asked him, "How can you be so cruel? Your wife is crying. Your children are alone. Don't you care about what people say?" Strickland looked at him with eyes that were empty of guilt. "I don't care," he said. "But you're 40," the friend shouted. "You can't start painting now. You're probably going to be a terrible artist." Strickland replied with a line that has haunted readers for 100 years. "I tell you, I've got to paint. I can't help myself. When a man falls into the water, it doesn't matter how he swims. He has to get out, or he will drown." Charles Strickland wasn't painting for fame. He wasn't painting for money. He was painting for survival. His soul had been hungry for 40 years, and now it was going to eat everything in its path. Living in Paris, Strickland became a ghost. He didn't eat for days. He slept on the floor. He was ruthless, not just to others, but to himself. He had no friends, only people he used. One of those people was Dirk Stroeve. Dirk was a kind, clumsy, and mediocre painter. But Dirk had one special talent. He could recognize genius. He knew that Strickland was a god with a brush, even though everyone else thought Strickland's art was ugly and disgusting. When Strickland became deathly ill with fever, Dirk begged his wife, Blanche, to let Charles stay in their home. Blanche was terrified. She felt something demonic in Strickland. She begged Dirk, "Don't bring him here. He is dangerous." But Dirk was too kind for his own good. He brought the monster home. Strickland recovered, and then he destroyed them. He didn't try to seduce Blanche. He didn't use charm. He simply existed with such a raw, primal energy that Blanche fell under his spell. She left her kind husband for the cold, silent artist. Did Strickland love her? No. To him, she was just a model. She was a body. She was a distraction. When he finished his painting, he finished with her. Blanche, realizing she was nothing to him, took her own life. And Strickland? He didn't feel a second of regret. He didn't go to her funeral. He went back to his canvas. To a man chasing the moon, a human life is just a grain of sand. He was beyond human morality. He was a force of nature, and nature is never kind. Eventually, the gray skies of Europe were not enough for him. Strickland traveled to the South Pacific, to the island of Tahiti. In the lush, green jungles, under the burning sun, he finally found his home. The native people didn't care about sixpence. They didn't care about London gossip or stock prices. He married a native woman named Ada. She was like the earth itself, silent, supportive, and asking for nothing. For a few years, Strickland was almost happy. He painted the spirits of the trees, the heat of the sun, the ancient secrets of the island. His art became explosive. It was like he was painting with fire. But destiny has a cruel sense of humor. Strickland contracted leprosy. His skin began to rot. His eyes began to fail. Most men would have screamed. Most men would have given up. But Strickland, he became a tiger. He locked himself in his hut. He went blind. And in total darkness, using only his memory and his soul, he painted his masterpiece on the walls of his house. It was a vision of the creation of the world. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was something that no human eye had ever seen before. Before he died, he gave Ada a final, strange order. Burn the house down. He didn't want the world to see it. He didn't want the sixpence of fame or history. He had seen the moon. He had reached his goal. The art was for him, and him alone. When he died, the house burned. The masterpiece turned into ash. Strickland died in the silence of the jungle, a man who had sacrificed everything for a vision that only he could understand. As we finish this brutal story, we must ask ourselves, was Charles Strickland a hero, or was he a monster? The answer is, he was both. Somerset Maugham tells us that the world is made of two types of people, those who live for the sixpence and those who live for the moon. Lesson 1. The weight of your dreams. True passion is not a hobby. It is not something you do on the weekends. True passion is a fire. It can warm you, but it can also burn your entire life to the ground. Are you willing to pay the price? Lesson 2. It is never too late. Charles was 40. He was a stockbroker. Everyone told him he was too old. He proved that the soul has no age. If you have a calling, if you have something inside you that needs to come out, don't wait for someday. Because someday is just another way of saying never. Lesson 3. Find your Tahiti. We all have a London, a place where we feel fake, trapped, and bored. And we all have a Tahiti, a place where we can finally be real. Your Tahiti might not be an island. It might be a book, a business, a language, or a creative dream. Stop looking for the sixpence in the mud for a moment. Look up. The moon is full, and it is waiting for you.